What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Fourth and Wrong. Episode 25 today, Chris. It is August 13th. It's a Tuesday. And Florida State's playing in a football game next weekend.
Dude, I saw this earlier. How come this isn't showing up on my feed? Did you post it to the right thing? I saw this the other day that this is the last week without college football until January 20th. Because this is the last non-game week of the year.
It's insane. I can't believe it. Kind of feels like it snuck up on us this year.
A little bit. I think I'll be honest, like about I can't go live on Twitter.
No, I think you have to have premium.
I have premium.
Oh.
That's weird. Whatever. I think I've realized last week because like we do every offseason. I'm like, all right, we need to fire up. Like, here's all this content we can do. We had a whole plan that you put together so well that was like, here's every single week we're gonna do, and you did it in June. I was like, let's fucking go. Like, I was fired up,
down, baby.
Yeah, and then Spectrum decided they were like, you know what you should do instead, Chris? Anything else? So I just realized a week ago, I'm like, you know what? Let's just fucking we're gonna do our preview for the season in terms of picks, and we do really well with that. But I just am not gonna I'm happy we're not gonna be previewing the ACC. I'm happy we're not gonna be doing any more deep dives in the Big 12. Let's just fucking get into it. We're just so close.
Oh, there's not time for that anymore.
Okay, yeah,
it's go time. Sure. I mean, this. Let's think about it. Next, are we going back to the normal schedule next week of Wednesday, Sunday?
Probably.
Or are we waiting until week 1?
We'll probably do it next week. I'll have internet for the next month, so because I'm not going to be in Columbia.
Huge plus.
Huge plus.
No, I would say if we record next week, we're on Wednesday. We're going to be previewing games in next week's pods.
What's on week 0? I know you guys play.
We play
noon?
Dublin. At noon, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's probably maybe the best game the first week. Week 0 games are always kind of weird, like Wyoming, Hawaii, and shit like that. And there's usually 1 or 2 big games.
I'm fired up for the week after because you get games start on Thursday.
Yeah.
And that's I feel like it's one of the more underrated sports weekends of the year. Because I know it, we get so excited. It's the first weekend of college football. But let's keep in mind, all day Saturday for week 1, you have from noon to tonight. You have, dude, I'm gonna get fired up just talking about it. On that Saturday, you have 12 o'clock Georgia Clemson, 3:30 Florida Miami, 7:30 Notre Dame A&M, and then you get the next night LSU USC. I don't know who plays that Monday night, but you get something that Monday night.
We do. We play against Boston College.
Oh, lame. But dude, that Thursday you get Mizzou and Arkansas, and that those are interesting storylines, at least for me, because I enjoy watching Mizzou. I want to see what the Bobby Petrino offense looks like with them. And then Friday night, I'm pretty sure it's Friday, you get Colorado and North Dakota State.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good game.
About that.
Okay, so outside of the Florida State Georgia Tech game, which is at noon, which one of these games interests you most in week 0?
Oh, God.
Montana State, New Mexico, the old 4 p.m. on 8/24. Could be SMU, Nevada. That tickle your fancy, Chris? On Saturday, 8 p.m.
Non-con game.
Yep. How about Delaware State, Hawaii?
Delaware State they're the 3rd best team in Delaware. So
that's a midnight game on Sunday night. Sunday morning.
Sunday night?
Sunday morning.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, late Saturday in Hawaii. Delaware State somehow affords to travel to Hawaii to play a week 0 game.
Tax-free state, baby. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind if they did something I love that the ACC with Georgia Tech and Florida State, I'm excited about that kickoff. For week 0, right, in Ireland. What's that?
I think it's going to be a good game, actually.
I do too. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not cheering for Florida State.
I know.
Okay. So Georgia Tech's on a heater right now, man. They got a 5-star lineman the other day, which is pretty crazy.
Great team.
I'm excited though. It should be good.
All right, so we got a little bit of the AP poll dropped yesterday. We'll get our reaction to that. Tennessee gets into a little situationship with pilot travel partners.
Yeah.
Stuff there. Talk about that. 247 came out with their bowl predictions all the way through the playoffs, and we'll talk about that and then some things we forgot about that we are starting to remember as the season starts. We'll go through some of that as well tonight. Thank you for those of you that have shown up in the chat. I know it's not the normal night, also much later than we typically record.
Yeah.
Look, unfortunately, sometimes work calls for both of us, and we had to kind of switch things up. So we'll be more of a regular schedule once the season starts. We promise you on
Yeah.
that.
Also, I just thought of a new segment we're going to do tonight that I forgot to tell you earlier because Prize Picks came out with their SEC quarterback passing yard props. So that's something we'll do in the next episode. We've done this.
Are we sponsored by Prize Picks now?
No, I'm just telling you that they came out with. We're not
Okay.
sponsored by anybody. We are fucking Ricky Bobby.
Except for Chris. Remember who just sponsored us? Remember our old segment we used to do where we would just make up sponsors?
Oh, yeah. Dude, don't put me on the spot like that. No, that's yeah, I do remember that. That was a lot of fun. Crystals, grab a sackful and diarrhea today. Do you remember when Crystals randomly struck a deal with SDS and for like an entire season, Saturday Down South was like on the side of their Crystals bags, and like SDS didn't do anything about promoting it. It was just like, oh yeah, we're doing that. I was like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but they came out. Prize Picks came out with their numbers and their pass props, and I did a deep dive on one specifically for Jalen Milroe, and we're gonna get into like next week. We'll do it like for like 3 best bets or whatever prop bets for the season to help make you guys some money and get back into the gambling side of things. Because you and I have killed it the last 2 years. We've done 3 picks each year before the season started, and we went like 5-1 on the prop bets. And was it 2 years ago that we went like 17-5 in our preseason picks?
Yeah, I think you had a real heater last season.
Yeah. We'll be back at it.
Yeah. AP poll, I feel like we can kind of rewind and talk about the coaches poll because it's almost the exact same.
Almost the exact same.
Georgia gets 46 first place votes. Number 2, Ohio State gets 15 first place votes. I don't think anybody else did in the AP poll.
Oregon got 1.
Oregon got 1. Okay. Penn State and Michigan were flipped. So Penn State is 8, 9 is Michigan. It's the other way around on the coaches poll. Utah and LSU are flipped at 12 and 13. So Utah 12, LSU 13 in the AP. Oklahoma State, Kansas State flipped 17, 18. Oklahoma State 17.
So weird that that's the only differences.
Yeah. And then Kansas and NC State are flipped. So Kansas is number 22 in this poll, NC State 24, the opposite in the coaches poll. So same exact teams, all 25 teams.
Wow.
Just a couple different shades of gray of moving them around a little bit. So pretty interesting. Doesn't mean anything again because we could go out in week 0, Florida State could lose to Georgia Tech and just completely change everything. So these are just kind of based on returning production, obviously, rosters, and really just the most talented teams are at the top.
So the numbers that stood out to me the most, okay. All right, so breaking it down, and I'll just go from the AP, even though it's the same numbers, I guess, for both, like you said. Yeah. The only difference in the SEC was LSU was 13 in one and 12 in the other, right?
Yeah, they're 13 in the AP.
But you had 9 total teams in the SEC, all of them in the top 20, 4 in the top 10. Obviously, Georgia at 1. You had 6 from the Big Ten, I believe 5 from the ACC. 5 from the ACC?
Yeah, I think so. Florida State, Clemson, NC
Miami.
State, Miami. What else we got?
So maybe it was 4 from the ACC.
Yeah.
And then you had 5 from the Big 12. And then you had Notre Dame, who was a top 10 team. They were 7th overall, I believe, in the coaches poll or the AP poll. And they're technically an independent. So that's the first thing that jumped out to me. Nothing that's too surprising, but it's the brands get bigger. But it's just the numbers seem almost the same because of the SEC. The Big Ten got a little bit more love because you have USC still in there, and whatever. The other stuff that I thought was interesting was this. There's like historically speaking, the last 20 years, 18 of the last 20 teams that were ranked number one in the season to start the year have not won the national championship. Like that's, I think 2017 Bama was one of them. And let's keep in mind that team lost in the last game of the regular season, didn't even make their conference title game. And then the other one was, I forgot who, but you only had that happen twice in the last 20 years where the number one team has ended up winning the national championship. The other thing is you've also had, I believe, in 18 or 19 of the last 20 years, I believe it's 18 of the last 20 years, you had an unranked team finish
Probably
in the
USC. 04?
Yeah, it was 04 USC.
Yeah.
You had an unranked team finish in the top 10, and then you had a top 10 team finish unranked. And Mizzou was the team last year that did that. I forgot who finished unranked. We've done this a little, like I think we did it once in the offseason, but we'll bring it up again. If there's one team in the top 10 to you that seems destined to drop out of the top 25 overall, who would it be?
Well, Feinbaum said it would be Florida State today.
Dude.
And honestly, I mean, it's not the worst answer because I think, they obviously replace a lot. They lost a lot on offense and defense to the NFL. And I was thinking, Penn State's usually a fraud, but Penn State, man, I was looking at their schedule today. It's really not, it's not horrible. I mean, they don't have to play Michigan in the regular season this year.
Right.
They don't have to play Oregon in conference. They get Ohio State at home.
Don't they get USC on the road?
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know. Like, to me, like they're not having Caleb Williams, who's like lighting it up in the preseason in the NFL. Like that's going to be a big deal for them.
Okay. Well, like, listen, we give Lincoln Riley a lot of shit, but there's one thing he's been able to do as a head coach. It's replace quarterbacks and stud quarterbacks. So I'm not super worried about them. I think USC is a team that I think will be better than people.
Here's Penn State's road games: West Virginia, Purdue, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and USC.
Every single one of those teams should be better than they were a year ago. Besides maybe Minnesota, which I don't know enough about. Like, I think the only reason I included Minnesota on that is because they, one, it helped the narrative of what I said off the cuff, and then two, because I think
that Purdue's going to be better too.
Purdue was 4-8. They should be better.
Well, just based off of what? Tell me. Give me a breakdown.
Their head coach is going into their second year. Usually you make the biggest jump from a head coach in their second year. I don't know what his name is. He's a very good-looking, light-skinned black guy, and that's all I know. But so, like, I do think USC is going to be better than people think. And I hate to say that. I'll say this. I think USC being good is good for the sport of college football. And you and I have talked about this before. I hate when people say that. I hate when people say it about Tennessee. I think that them being good is good for the sport of college football. I see a couple comments real quick in the chat right now that say Notre Dame overrated, blah, blah. Notre Dame, especially under Brian Kelly, they have almost every single year besides, I believe, 2022 and maybe last year, but I think it's just 2022. They finished ranked ahead at the end of the season of where they were ranked in the preseason almost every year. Like, especially from, like, I think it was like 2018 to 2021 or something like that, before Brian Kelly left. They're at 7. I think they're destined for the playoff. I think they're going to be a really, really good football team. The other one I was going to say, damn it, which one was it? If I'm looking at a team that I think is in the top 10 that finishes outside of the top 25, I keep coming back to Michigan. Michigan's schedule is very tough. They're replacing so much talent. And then their best players are both on the defensive side of the ball. One of them is a defensive lineman. Like, he's really good.
Their coach may very well be suspended for some games this year.
It's such a joke. Jim Harbaugh being named the honorary captain and then now saying he's not going to do the honorary captain thing. It's so stupid. But I think that's the team. It's kind of interesting, man, because I was going to ask you this even before we talked about it, which was, like, what do you think is right in terms of ranking Michigan? Michigan just won the national championship. They've lost 3 games in the last 3 years. They went 15-0 a season ago. They are the defending national champions. Do you think that they have a right to be number one? Or do you think that, like, because I don't think they're a top 10 team. I don't.
No, I
So
don't think that it's not even close to the same team, and not just the team that they had coming back on the field, but it's like mostly new coaches
yeah, that's
and
what I'm
coaches
drinking
that
out of
don't
a
have
lot.
head coaching experience outside of being an interim coach, where you had Harbaugh over your shoulder every day in practice. You just had to handle game days.
And Connor
Like,
Stallions
you
over your
also had Connor
shoulder.
Stallions, which is also, so absolutely. I mean, don't they play Texas and Oregon?
I don't know.
Or the
They do
USC?
play Texas, and they get Ohio State, and I believe
Yeah,
that game's on the road. Um, Actually, I'm almost positive it's on the road. You get,
the
yeah,
USC.
dude. Like this, that's the one thing about Penn State is like Penn State. I bet they wish they got Michigan this year because that's an easier game. Like I mean, they could be really good. I just I think they're going to end up going 8-4, 9-3. And here's the thing too. I brought this up a while back. Like that schedule is not easy for them. Don't they go to USC?
They got USC at home.
Okay.
They have Texas at home. They go to Washington, which I'm not quite sure what they'll be this year, but Jed Fish had really good teams at Arizona, so maybe. But then you've got Oregon at home,
How many home games do they fucking
and
get?
then you get Ohio State on the road. That
I
schedule
fucking
is
hate
tough, man.
Michigan so much. Michigan's like my new Notre Dame, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's who they are for me. Um, Also, I don't even want. This is like a Beetlejuice thing. I don't want to mention this dude's name, but he came out with his entire like top 134 or whatever, like one through 34 ranked teams. It was RJ Young. He had Washington ranked like 84. And I also saw them projected at 4-8 in some place, which would be a massive drop off. It is still the shock of the century to me that that kid Noah Fafita did not go with Jed Fish or any of the big names go to Washington
yeah,
to
the
go play
receiver
there.
too, and they've got a really good running back room.
Washington or Arizona?
No, Arizona.
Dude, I think it's
No,
a smart move
no,
because I don't know who their coach is. I should probably know that, but like
he's
at the
he
same
just he's a
time,
dude from San Jose State, I think.
oh, that's right, that's right. But like smart move, young man, to not have to go to the Big Ten. And if you're trying to like especially get into the pros, like you've already got so much good tape. Like there's no reason for you to go make it harder on yourself, in my opinion. But anyway, I think that Michigan is the team that would drop out of it. Going into the top 10 is such a crapshoot because it's so hard to say. I will tell you what were teams that were receiving votes.
Oh, I didn't see.
All right, whatever. I know Kansas is ranked preseason for the first time since 2009,
Yep.
so they can't be them. I don't think it'll be another Big 12 team because I think that the winner of the Big 12 is going to end up being like 9-3, and I think it's somebody that you're going to see at the top anyway, like Utah, Kansas State, or Oklahoma State.
Maybe Utah should be.
SMU is a team I think that could.
Yeah, no, definitely. SMU's gonna be good this year. Like Preston Stone, I think he's the top graded PFF quarterback coming back this year. But I could see Utah being ranked higher, honestly, because I think they're
Yeah.
gonna be the best team in the Big 12, and they've got Cam Rising
Oh,
coming back completely healthy, which he's a really good QB. I know we make jokes because he was supposed to be coming back like pretty much every week last year, but
well,
I
but
think
I
it's been
mean,
long enough now at this point.
yeah, for real. If he come, what if they just did it again? What if he's just like,
Yeah,
he's eligible? I think for one more after this.
no, he can't be.
I swear to God, I'm almost positive there's like some weird ass loophole, and it's like because I think he had to be like, nah, it's time to go. How many fucking degrees could he have?
There's a kid at Miami that was in the 2016 high school recruiting class.
This is COVID has created a like fucking U.S. senator congressman type deal where it's like I keep looking up and I'm just seeing. I
How long
don't
do we
know.
have to go with this, man? Like, it's like, okay, COVID was like almost 5 years ago at this point. They're still like, yeah, you know how it is with the COVID, and like, I feel like that's why these kids get waivers. They're just like, you know how it was with COVID. Like, I still have.
I saw today from our buddies at Locked on Georgia, Locked on Bulldogs, whatever it is. They were like, dude, this year is Arian Smith's year. And I was like, I distinctly remember in 2019, Tyler, doing a top 3 to 5 breakout players for the SEC, and I was like, Arian Smith, dude. Me and Connor had to do it, and I was like, Arian Smith, because he's so fast, and they need a receiver, and we're still talking about him. I hope for his sake he does. He seems like a great kid. He's obviously stuck it out through a ton of injuries. But yeah, that was honestly what sparked the idea of who did we forget? There we go. Navy guy brings us up. Keenan Pilly. It's like my shirt, very pilly. He had a Mormon mission, medical redshirt. I can't believe Mormons are still a thing. That's such a tough sell for me, man. You can't drink caffeine or have sex. I would lose my mind without caffeine. Sex, I'd be,
That's pretty. I'd say that's kind of a common thing, right?
What? What? Never mind.
Hey, you do get the soak though.
What if you had like an inverse reaction if you were Mormon to caffeine, and the reaction you had to drinking that for the first time was like the reaction most people had to sex? Whoa, this Mr. Pibb is insane. Anyway.
All right. Thank you to all 250 people that are listening and watching live. Let's talk a little Tennessee and Pilot Travel Centers.
Huh? Yeah, I like this. This is cool.
So Tennessee University of announces a significant long-term deal with Pilot Travel Centers. We've all seen them on the highways. Yep. I believe their former CEO was a big alum, Jimmy Haslam, former CEO of Pilot.
Yes, Jimmy Haslam is
huge supporter.
He's involved like in everything. He's like Lindo Global from the other guys. Lindo Global, we're in everything. He's like a billionaire.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, Neyland Stadium is still the name of the stadium.
Yeah.
I did not know it was Shields Watkins Field. Did you?
What? No.
Well, apparently, Chris, don't be worried. Do not fret. That name also staying. So this isn't going to be like a Pilot Travel Center stadium. It's going to still be the stadium. It's still going to be at Shield Watkins Field or Shield Watkins Field at Neyland Stadium. It's like we have Bobby Bowden Field at Doak Campbell Stadium. I'm sure you guys have something at Nick Saban now, I guess. I
was about to say, if you didn't, I'm going to punch you in the mouth. Well, I think like Bobby Dodd finally sold some rights.
Yeah. Did they it's actually got like a corporate name before Bobby Dodd or no?
I don't know. But I mean, dude, I'm like a mile and a half from there right now. I'm so fucking pumped. I'm at Allie's new place, and it's pretty cool. You can hear the crime in the background. Listen.
Oh, yeah. Initially, a 20-year deal here with potential extensions. I don't think that financial terms were disclosed, but essentially, you're going to start seeing more of this.
Yeah.
It's giving significant revenue streams to the school. Pilot gets to put their name on the field, spray painted onto the field, probably signs everywhere around the stadium. They get to enhance their brand opportunity.
Yeah.
Tennessee gets a load of money, which is basically what you have to have in today's society for NIL and things like that.
I wonder how much it is, because I feel like Georgia Tech's was disclosed, and it was something weird. It was like 20 years, and it was like 23 million or something. Like it didn't feel like it was enough.
They are also, Pilot is the presenting partner for the $337 million Neyland Stadium renovations.
That's
so
good.
Yeah, a lot of money being sunk in through Pilot. So that's good. I don't know. We didn't cover this last week, so I think it was dropped after we recorded. But did you see that FIU now has a new sponsor for their stadium?
Mr. Worldwide is
we were just talking about him.
We were?
Remember we were going through his lyrics, like his hottest lyrics?
I don't remember that, but I'm glad we did. Oh yeah, we did. Yeah. By the way, I pulled it up real quick since you just dismissed it as soon as I said it. Georgia Tech, this is in August 8th of 2023. So last year, Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field. They gave the naming rights to the field. It was a 20-year deal for $55 million. Now, I would assume if Georgia Tech got $55 million from Hyundai, I would think that Tennessee probably got a lot.
A larger number.
A much larger number.
Yeah, no, I'm moving on from it because I can already see the future, Chris. This is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be Georgia Tech. You're going to be all Georgia Tech the next week. And it's going to be first quarter Florida State's going to come out slow. I'm going to log in on Twitter, see what the Florida State faithful are saying, and I'm going to see your fucking tweets, and they're going to be like, so fired up for this program.
Dude,
We got to take
am.
Florida State down. And I'm going to get so pissed. I can just see it now.
I think my Georgia Tech tweet from the other day cost us a listener. Evan Grimes was real upset about it and saying, we got Bama fans talking about Georgia Tech now. I listen, Georgia Tech, for me personally, is a program that I like to see succeed. They are a non-threat to everyone. They're a non-threat to everyone. They are the and I understand that Paul Johnson was there for a long time. They are the literal definition of like they are.
You know what they are a threat to? Kneeling the football at the end of games.
Wait, so what?
They're a threat to kneeling a football at the end of games.
Yeah, and field goal kicks too.
Yeah,
at Hyundai Field and Bobby Dodd Stadium. No, I want to see them do well, and I think that Brent Key is doing a good job. It should not be this difficult to win at Georgia Tech with the in-state talent in the state of Georgia. I don't know what the drawback is. Huh?
I mean, specifically in the Atlanta area too, like the high schools. All the high schools there are really good at football. Like just all the Metro Atlanta high schools.
Dude, Georgia Tech used to be good at not at the same time, but like when we were in high school, they went to the Final Four. Georgia Tech, that fucking monstrosity, like 7-footer Schlesinger or whatever his name was, the red
Australian guy.
I don't know, probably.
His name Luke.
Yeah, like Luke Fisher.
Yeah.
Judicial system, and then. They were really good at baseball for a long time. There's also not an excuse for them not to be good at baseball. We don't need to talk about Georgia Tech this much. I do this all the time.
I know, I've already seen it coming. We'll be talking about them all week.
Such a baby.
All right. Thanks to the 300 of you that are in the chat and watching on Twitter and YouTube.
It'd be funny if you guys renamed your field after like a different Native American casino. Like if you guys named your field after Cherokee like Harris Casino, it would be the happiest day of my life.
That would be tough.
It might happen. Coming out of the tunnel at Cherokee Field, you're like,
oh. Well, that's how it is at Miami. They play at Hard Rock Stadium. I mean, how stupid is that?
What?
Miami plays at Hard Rock Stadium.
Why is that? I'm making a joke about cross-pollinating Native American tribes.
No, I mean that's the Seminole Indians own the Hard Rock Casino down in Miami.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, Seminole Hard Rock Casino. We just had a kid commit to Florida State there, and they did like a whole thing. It was awesome.
I'll be at Fort Lauderdale on Thursday for 2 weeks.
You'll see the big guitar. That's it.
Internet everywhere, baby. Everywhere but my home.
So sick, dude. You should just never go home.
Deal. That's
all right. 247 came out with their bowl predictions. We'll go through some of the top ones, but some notable names in the SEC. Florida. You got Florida making a bowl, so that means they're going to be at least 500, which would, and all like jokes aside, that would be a good season, I think, given the schedule.
Yeah.
Hasn't played Tulane and Birmingham.
Hilarious from Florida. Like I think it would be one of the funniest things that happened in college football this year. If they won the state and went 3-0 in the state, because they play Miami, Florida State, and UCF. If they were somehow able to win the state and still go 5-7, God, that would be funny.
What do you think it would, huh?
Not for you.
No, Chris. You can't do this year.
You're talking yourself. Shut up. First off, I will not cheer for Florida over Florida State unless Billy Napier's job is on the line.
A good game here will be cool. South Carolina versus SMU in the Gasparilla Bowl.
I think SMU should be better than that, right?
Maybe. I think they're going to be pretty good. Oklahoma State versus Clemson in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I just put that in there because what a matchup of head coaches.
Oklahoma State and oh my gosh, yeah.
Can you imagine? Oh, yeah. We need that to happen. Kansas State, USC, I think would be a good matchup in the Alabama Bowl. How about Auburn taking on Kansas in the Texas Bowl?
That doesn't make any. Don't you have to be from Texas to be in the Texas Bowl?
Apparently not. To 247 Sports. How about in the Citrus Bowl, Missouri versus Michigan?
That's surprising. That's a good bowl game though.
Yeah,
Dude,
Tennessee,
I'm telling
Iowa.
you, we're gonna get. That's gonna be the weirdest thing this year. I think is one of those like with the expanded playoff this season specifically. We are gonna get like an old school Citrus Bowl, like where it used to be like, oh yeah, man, Ohio State and Tennessee are playing, and it's a big deal. But like, it's only because Florida is playing Michigan and like whatever, like they're like in the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's cool. They've got ReliaQuest Bowl, Tennessee, Iowa. Didn't they play last year?
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah. And then the Gator Bowl, NC State versus LSU, which I think is a pretty good matchup.
Yeah.
All right, here's a prediction for the playoffs. You ready? Number 12, first round, number 12, Liberty going to Austin to play number 6, Texas. They ultimately have Texas winning that game. Number 11, Notre Dame at number 5, Ole Miss.
Why is that? Why wouldn't it be 12 versus 5? Am I stupid?
No, because 6. I don't know.
Whatever. I think first off, before you go any further, I think the Liberty pick is.
Did they like seed it based on? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I think the Liberty pick makes more and more sense as you look at it because of their strength of schedule is so bad.
Yeah, and they got a really good quarterback. And I was looking at running backs from last year. They've got a really good running back coming back as well.
Mm-hmm. Not Keaton Slovis, but the kid from USC from a couple years ago. Is it Keaton Slovis?
Who's their quarterback?
Yeah.
No, Caden Salter.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's pretty much like if you think about it, it's almost the exact same name. Number 10, Miami at number 7, Oregon. I mean, if Miami is the number 10 seed, then that means that I think they've probably hit their high end potential of what you think they could be. So I think that'd be a fun game to watch, like Miami going into Oregon for a playoff game.
Yeah,
that's what I am excited about for this new. Like, it is weird how fast things are changing, and then of course they've got number 9 Alabama playing at number 8 Penn State.
That would be awesome.
You know, Bama going into Penn State, probably a whiteout game.
I would think so.
Shit, because it's going to be like December.
Yeah, I think that's the best part of the new playoff is that like it's going to be super weird. Like I was trying to follow along with this a while back. It's like it's going to start on December 20th. Like the playoff is going to be a month long. Right. Like you go the first, you only whittle down 4 teams and you're in 12, right? Like you go from 12 to 8 to 4, and so it's like it's going to be a very long.
That's basically how the NFL playoffs is. Like it's going to be like that.
You would have to win 4 games to win a national title if you didn't get a first round bye, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Quarterfinal matchup would then be, they have it Alabama beating Penn State, so Bama would go play Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl, and they have Oregon versus Georgia in the Rose Bowl. It'd be a sick game.
Yeah.
Texas versus Florida State in the Peach Bowl, and Ole Miss and Utah in the Fiesta Bowl. So those are the matchups they have there, and then ultimately in the semifinals they have Ole Miss beating Utah, playing Ohio State, who's beaten Bama in this situation.
Yeah.
No, you'd love that.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
They have Texas beating Florida State, which I also think is fair, in the Peach Bowl, and going up against number 2 Georgia, rematch in the Cotton Bowl. And then ultimately they have Ohio State playing Georgia in the championship. 1 versus 2.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean, I think those are the 2 best teams. It's gonna be interesting, man. I'm getting more excited about it as we talk about it. I think I wasn't at first. I think the excitement level is going to drop to a certain degree from the first round of the playoffs to the second round, because we're going to see something so cool and unique in the first round where it's like, I mean, dude, like Bama at Penn State would be awesome. Miami at Oregon would be awesome.
I'd say between Bama, Penn State, Notre Dame, like those are the 3 schools that have like legitimately not changed their uniforms at all. They don't do alternate. I guess Notre Dame does alternate. Penn State and Bama.
Yeah, okay.
Penn State and Bama are like the 2 most classic uniforms that you could have, like unchanged. It's a great matchup.
They played every year in the 80s. Every single year they played.
That's awesome.
But I think that it should be that is like really cool. I hate to sound so pessimistic or negative about it because it's going to be a cool experience, and we don't know what to expect yet, right? But am I being a little bit of a bitch when I say it
Yes.
bothers me? I fucking knew you were gonna do that. It bothers me a little bit that it's like, okay, as a fan, if I'm going to the first home game, like, dude, like, just hear me out here from like
Okay.
in this fucking economy.
Yeah.
If I'm a Bama fan and
Mm.
I have to go to what do you call it to Happy Valley for a playoff game, so the
Yeah.
tickets alone are going to be probably around $400-500 if you want anything remotely close.
Yeah. Then good luck
On
flying into College Station.
Happy Valley,
Yes. Same
yes.
thing.
And then so like travel and all that kind of stuff. And then after that, it's like, dude, I know this is different teams than what it's projected, but if you're Georgia, or if you're like, then if you win that game and you have to go out to the Rose Bowl, one, it feels like you're cheapening the Rose Bowl, and I'm not for that at any level. I think the Rose Bowl, I think this is the best idea is put the fucking national championship in the Rose Bowl every single year, no matter
100%.
what, and that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing that they should like the biggest uniform change across the board that I think everyone would be on board for. But like if you have to go from Happy Valley and then like out to Glendale, and then it's like, oh, awesome, we won. We're in the final four. We're in like, we're in the college football playoff semifinals. And now I got to go to Miami. And then if I want to go to a national championship game, I got to go out to wherever. It's like, Jesus, man, that is so much fucking money.
Yeah. You're definitely gonna have to choose. I mean, well, shit. I mean, even the last few years with the playoffs, it's like you're gonna play in the Orange Bowl in Miami, and then you're gonna be in like the Rose Bowl or New
Yeah.
Orleans. Like
Dude,
it was already
2018,
shit.
2018 Bama was SEC championship 1-4 with Georgia, then down to Miami against 1-4 again against Oklahoma, and then out to Santa Clara for Clemson. And it was like, fuck, man.
Yeah. But it's all about the money and the TV dollars, brother.
True.
All right, let's talk about some things. I love how we just haven't moved the banner
Oh,
since.
shit, my bad. I made them. Hey, there's the bowl projections, guys. Appreciate you joining us along. Let's not forget about this one. What a time to be alive on that show.
How about things we forgot about this season? Because we were talking about some things that we forgot about last season.
This one,
like, you know what?
didn't
We
show
should
up.
do this as a segment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll just call it the Uncensored Moment of the Week. Things we forgot about this season.
Unreal.
I'm gonna start, Chris, because you have a good one, and I don't want to take it from you.
Okay, so here's the things that I personally forgot about this offseason. Tons of change, tons of stuff going on, rules changes, teams changing, different conferences, blah, 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 blah. The
Things
first
you
thing
forgot
that jumped out to me was that.
These are things you forgot about?
These things I personally forgot about.
No, like your credit card bill, for example. You can
What's a
talk about that
credit
or
card?
like only on the football.
Yeah. So, I forgot to pay taxes again.
Okay, wow, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Right.
So no.
That one every year you go over that one.
I know. We're gonna see somebody pop up in the feed like IRS, like Chris, we need to talk. So the thing I think that stood out to me the most that I forgot about, Chip Kelly is the OC at Ohio State.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That's
because of the way that happened was so bizarre. Like I tell you what, college football this year specifically with the offseason, there's very much a feel for me, and maybe it's because there's like so much stuff going on and I have ADD or whatever. But remember during the pandemic when the government was like, all right, listen, we're gonna tell you guys a secret. There are aliens, and everyone was like, yeah, fucking whatever, dude. Like I'm trying to watch
we're all
Tiger King.
miserable at home, dude. Let's just move on.
Right. So like,
just beam me up. If there's no COVID in space, just get me out of here.
yeah, I had to go to Mars to get a fucking haircut. So I think that kind of stuff is like that's how I feel about college football for this season. So I forgot about Chip Kelly. I'll piggyback off.
By the way, that before we move on from Chip Kelly, when is the last time he was an OC?
I think it was
because he's been head coach at NFL. He was head coach Oregon, obviously, head coach UCLA. Like it's had to have been so long since he was an OC.
He was an OC at Oregon in 2007, 2008, dude. 16 years ago.
Damn, I was in college. That's
insane.
I
was just starting my sophomore year, technically.
Who's that helper? Who was that? Helfrich? Bilotti?
Yeah.
Just
No,
both.
Helfrich was the head coach in 2013 and 14. Dude, how about this? I didn't know that he was the head coach for San Francisco, the 49ers.
Yeah. After Philly, right?
Yeah, I still thought with the 2013 when he became the head coach for the Eagles and they had Mike Vick, and the very first play of the year, he threw like an 80-yard bomb to Deshaun Jackson. I was like, they are going to never lose a game. This is the greatest decision I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So
I could just imagine him like sitting down. They were probably at a coaching conference, and he's just sitting there like in a group of guys. He's like, "Listen, I can't fucking do this anymore with all these kids. Just give me anybody looking for an OC. I'll take $2 million a year. Get me out of this shit."
he was the head coach for a team entering this conference.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't think UCLA, as much as I've always wanted them to be relevant, because I think in some of my favorite years of college football, 97 through 99 years, they were relevant. And I think they have the best color combination in the country, not the best uniforms, but the best color combination. And they play in my favorite stadium, all that kind of shit. But for that to happen and have a head coach be like, I'm fucking done, man. I don't want to do this anymore. And to go be an OC, I think it's a really cool situation. Wait, what's going on with that? Is the internet messed up? Or why are people making jokes?
I think they're just making internet jokes again.
It gave me some PTSD. But him going to Columbus and like that is such a I feel like a huge get for Ohio State because he is a brilliant offensive mind in different ways, and even with like I think people view him as kind of like a bust a little bit because he hasn't been as relevant in maybe the last decade or so. But look at some of the players that he's had like at UCLA that have like blown up, right? Like I mean he's had moments where I can't remember the guy, DTR, whoever it was, at quarterback and the numbers they put up there and what they're able to do with running the football, especially like it'll be very interesting to see what he can do with those running backs because they have the best backfield in the country. Real quick before I get,
and he never had near the talent at any of these skill positions because he just hated recruiting. He was like Dan Mullen basically, but better.
Yeah. The other one I'll say at the same position is I keep forgetting that the OC that was in charge of LSU's offense last year, that was the best offense in the country, is now at Notre Dame with Riley Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be really good.
Yeah. People do forget that, Chris. You're right. You know what I forgot about? That was a big transfer that kind of just I felt like it happened fast and semi under the radar. Evan Stewart going to Oregon.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Like he's a clear number one. You pair him up with a super accurate quarterback in Dylan Gabriel. Like I think that's going to be Oregon's going to be good, man. They're going to be fun to watch too.
Yeah. I'm excited to see their brand kind of transition from because for a while there it was like, yeah, man, they're going to be the spread offense and put up all these points, but they always there was never a way when they didn't win in 2014. I had a thought that I was like, are they ever going to win? Because I'll never forget Bama losing to Ohio State in the playoff that year. Ohio State Oregon beats Florida State in the Rose Bowl. And I remember Bama blows a 21-6 lead against Ohio State, and I thought we were winning the national championship that year. And I remember talking to my dad about it afterwards, and I was like, I'm bummed, but I'm not that bummed because nobody's beating Oregon this year. And sure enough, Ohio State comes off and kind of bulldozes them in the national championship. I think it's been different to watch them play because they haven't had this like built from the inside out type identity that they're going to have with Lanning now.
Yeah, no, I mean, you've got a real SEC mentality in the Big Ten up there, and maybe the best NIL collective in the country. Rumors in the offseason that basically Phil Knight is willing to do whatever it takes to win a championship before he dies. You know what I forgot about that seems very silly now, and I think we'll probably never talk about again, is the all-out war over Travaris Robinson between Bama and Georgia fans.
Yeah.
T-Rob. Remember the old T-Rob war?
That was tough.
I was reading through Phil Steele magazine and I was like, oh, T-Rob's at Georgia. And I was like, oh, yeah. Wasn't everybody fighting about that for like a month?
Well, because I forgot how it played out, but it was like Dude, this is also right when Saban retired, so it was like, all right, you gotta get some guys that under because everyone was worried that DeBoer was not gonna be able to recruit. So
Right.
it's like you gotta have some defensive guys. Like you're just not gonna win without it. And then it was like if he like was gonna stay, and then he left, and then there were rumors he was coming back,
Yeah, I remember that.
and then it didn't happen. And so
Yeah.
Georgia's just assembled this fucking incredible defensive coaching staff.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing all of T. Rob's success at Georgia this year.
Thanks, dude. Are you doing this because I said I'm excited about Georgia Tech?
No,
getting
no,
a
I'm actually saying it because no one's really going to give a shit anymore.
Yeah, it's also fair. Okay, I'll give you one.
Georgia. Speaking of Georgia, by the way, I
Go
forgot
ahead.
that they played Texas, Bama, and Ole Miss all on the road this year.
3 top 6 teams.
Yeah.
And you know what? Some idiot in the Big Ten is still going to say that Georgia doesn't play anybody. I don't know how that narrative came about besides 2021, or I think it was.
Yeah.
But Jesus, man.
That's great.
Okay, I'll give you one. And it stays with like the portal stuff. I forgot that Florida State got like 6 Bama players that
Yeah.
contributed last year. But I also forgot Malik Benson, former number 1 receiver in the country out of JUCO, is going to be playing there because he was supposed to be a big deal.
Yeah, he's apparently by all means, from everything that is going around the Florida State camp, is that the receivers are pretty underwhelming, but Benson is by far the best.
Right.
So,
which would be a huge get for Norvell 2 years in a row in the portal at receiver.
Yeah, it's hard to, Benson and Coleman are very different players, obviously. Like Benson's only like, I mean, he's small, but he's fast as shit. And Coleman was obviously not that fast, but obviously a beast physically. Very funny guy too, by the way.
Very funny.
But yeah, Benson looks to be pretty good. Roydell Williams apparently looks really good in camp. So yeah, we'll see what the Bama players do. It's also hard to tell what the receivers are going to do because I think our corners specifically, but our entire secondary may be top 2 or 3 in the country. I mean, we're going to be very good at the DBs this year, so maybe the receivers will be even better than we think, but they're not.
Somebody just brought this up in the chat too, and I meant to put that as like a thing. Texas lost in the span of like 4 days or 3 days. They lost their top 2 running backs. That is, now I'm not going to compare it to this completely because it's 2 different positions and they should have depth there and they have talent everywhere else on offense. But like when at the end of the season, if we look at this Texas team and their offense is not nearly as good as we thought it was going to be in all the offseason months and preseason magazine season leading up until right now, I mean right today, August 13th. Remember when Missouri came into the SEC and lost all 5 starting offensive linemen in year 1 and went 4-8? I don't think Texas is going to go 4-8 by any means, but like it's very difficult to come into a new league, especially one like the SEC, and then have that really bad of luck on injuries like that. That sucks for Texas, man.
Yeah, man, you're starting to see more and more. I mean, like NFL too. Like the Falcons have already had 4 guys tear their ACLs. They've gone through 1 preseason game.
What? Are any of them the GM or Arthur Blank?
No, your boy DeMarco Helms had a massive knee injury in the game against the Dolphins. Their 3rd round pick that they were going to rely on at D end, like tore his ACL. Rondell Moore, they traded Desmond Ridder for, tore his ACL.
Wait, Rondell Moore, the receiver?
Yeah.
That sucks for that kid, man. That kid was so electric when he was healthy.
Yep.
For that one very small season.
I saw Florida, like one of their D tackles that they were gonna they had a lot of hope for this year, like broke his ankle, out for the year.
Yeah.
This is the part of camp that I hate the most. It's like when you start scrimmage, putting like real bodies on bodies, because these days apparently like it's not nearly what it used to be in terms of practice, and like they don't really tackle each other that much. So they're not used to getting physical, and then once they do, they start to get hurt. So you just hope that your team gets through and you don't have too many major injuries before that first game.
I'll give you one more that I forgot about.
Let's hear it.
The kickoff rule in the NFL is dumb as shit. It's
the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
They're going to do it with college football. Like this is just going to become they're going to make a trickle down effect of all the things being the exact same. And I don't know why they're going to do it, but it's going to happen. We just need to brace ourselves for it. I forgot about the 2-minute warning, which is going to blow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just and remember last year, I feel like I was just getting used to the fucking running clock because you were watching games last year and you're like, what the hell? How is it halftime already?
Yeah.
So, like
It's
those are
crazy.
major. What's that?
It's crazy. They I have like I downloaded Florida State's schedule onto my Google Calendar, and it like tells you the times of the games and shit and puts it on your calendar. And it used to be like when you had a game, it would book you from like 12 to 12:30, potentially 12 to 4. And now it says 12 to 3 because they're just planning on faster games.
Yeah.
Wild.
Oh, I mean,
What an
that
antidote, huh?
that I think that's the last thing. Let's close with our uncensored moment of the week. And I'm not going to make you bring up the video, but the Olympics ended.
Yeah.
It's not as funny as what happened with that big dick pole vaulter.
Yeah.
But I know you saw it. The
breakdancer?
break dancing.
What was that?
When I saw the pictures of it, I was like, there's no fucking way that this is real. And that woman represented her country on the biggest stage. Dude, the funniest part about it is like if you've ever watched any breakdancing at all, which hopefully most people haven't, but or at least understand like the start of like a breakdance competition, it's like this, like you're walking around and it's almost like you're like non-verbally talking shit, like I'm about to fucking crush this. And she's like walking around doing all this shit with her shoulders and stuff, and then it's like, hey, it's the weirdest. Hey
guys, an important part about being a performer is being able.
All right, here we'll.
Hey y'all, I'm Dina. These aren't even that bad. That's it. Watch her on the floor. This part.
This is unreal.
Why does she have the hat on?
Here's the thing: this woman's going to be famous forever, though. So really, she kind of went.
She got real mad and made that move. She got real.
Look at the people
Tyler,
watching.
You have 2 kids under the age of 5, and I have zero doubt that 3 times a week they ask you to watch them do shit like this.
She went full Napoleon Dynamite.
Dude, it was. Also, John Glasgow makes another good point, like he always does in our comments. Aren't the fast games against what advertisers want? Yes, it's such a.
Here's the thing: we get less football, but we still get the same amount of ads.
That part, it makes me so fucking mad. Whatever. No, she got mad in the comment, or like she becomes instantly viral with good reason. Like that's fucking ridiculous.
That's a ridiculous thing to say that someone's like a premier athlete in the world.
So they took it out of the 2028 Olympics, and she sounded off about that. She was like, "I bet they're going to regret that, seeing how popular it was." And then she made some comment. She was like, "There's no." Imagine trying to judge this with a straight face. Just like we always joke around. It's like, I wish we just had at least like at every event in the Olympics, we just had a normal person competing. Like that's her. Like that was wild, man. God, that was good. That was good. So anyway, that's the show.
All right. Well, this is the last week without football. So when we come to you live next week, so I guess our new schedule will be Wednesday, Sunday.
Probably so. Yeah.
All right. So then I guess our next episode will be Wednesday, which will preview week 0.
Not this Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Yeah. No, next episode will be Sunday, then Wednesday.
Well, Sunday is like our live. We go live after the games for the weekend, but there's no games this weekend.
Okay. Yeah. Good point. All right.
So we'll maybe do, since week 0 is not going to be like, we won't be able to preview too much since the games are terrible. We'll do mostly season preview stuff on Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next week.
Thank you.